Welcome back. You're watching Rise and Shine, and this is the final segment, joining in on a very interesting, intriguing and must-know topic on television. Now, most of you who are featured on Rise and Shine today, who's glued on, you've probably been from an era which is where the black and white TV was, and then to the whole transformation of what you are watching today. What we are going to move forward is into a totally different stream, which is called digital TV. What is it about? What is the whole technology that has to play an impact? Aren't you satisfied with the TV that we have today? Might be a question that you're arguing about. But on the other side, we do have to move ahead with our future, because we don't know what are the impacts, what are the good or the bad sides that we are doing by watching the current television. To know more about the experts are with us in the studios. We have two senior lecturers from the University of Moratuwa. We have Dr. Ruwan Udayanga and Dr. Ranga Rodrigo. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. As TV people, we are glued to the TV, and we want to be the presenter to bring out the smiles to the people and also the stories, while the viewers also tend to look at us through that television stream. May it be a box, may it be a flat, it has its beauty. But what is this whole digital talk that people talk about?
Actually, we love TV. We love the pictures that we see in TV. Color TV has been exciting. But the TV sets that we have are of limited size. We want large TVs. So therefore, we have to move from analog to digital. Analog means we have so many levels of signals, but sometimes they can get corrupted. But digital means clarity. Digital means like a CD, like a DVD. Clear pictures, clarity. That's what we are going after.
So if we're talking, isn't the TV clear now? I mean, we see things very clearly. What is this crisp clear that you are referring to about?
Actually, although we see the TV very clearly if you are close by to the transmitting station, maybe Piduruthalagala, if you go far away from the station, or if you have mountains shadowing the TV signals that you receive, maybe you see dots on your TV screen. Now, some viewers experience this and they are not very happy about this. So that's why we want to make this transition from analog to digital.
So the moment we shift to digital, it's going to be crystal clear with no dots at all.
Now I know why the audience comes back and tells us that they can't see us.
You had dots on your face.
I had dots on my face. We want to ask you, sir, now the audience is watching TV and they're watching it through an antenna made through a device on various streams of maybe even a mobile phone line. Can you tell us how the TV receives the program?
Yeah, normally the pictures taken from either inside a studio or from outside any program is taken back to the transmitting station. So they are processed, let's say it's analog signal, they are processed and then in the studio, and then it sends to the transmission side. In Sri Lanka, let's take the example as Rupavahini. So whatever we are capturing in this studio is taken back into the transmitting tower, and it is transmitted to the Piduruthalagala station or Yatiyantata or any other station. Then at Piduruthalagala, the broadcasting happens. Okay, when at the Piduruthalagala, when they broadcast the signal, each and every of us can receive the signal using a simple antenna, which we put up at our rooftops normally. So those antennas captures the signals, as you can see in the slide. So that antenna can capture any signal, whether it is Rupavahini, Channel I, ITN or any other signal, and it filters out using the tuner which channel we want to see. At the tuner, the channel is selected, then it is at the tuner also the audio and the video is separated. The audio signal is sent to the speakers and the video signal is sent to the displays. That is for all the televisions. But when we come to digital TV, it's going to be a little bit different. We can discuss it a little bit later.
Right, and Dr. Rodrigo, we spoke of digital and analog television. So I'm sure you have an in-detail description about the difference between analog and digital television.
Yes, absolutely. Now what Dr. Ruwan explained was how the signal comes to the antenna and we connect the antenna to our TV set and we can watch a beautiful show like Rise and Shine. If we have an analog TV though, the signals that we receive contain many voltage levels. Sometimes this level is not enough. That's why we use a booster very close to the antenna. Now this signal comes to the TV, and now we want to illuminate the TV screen using the pictures that it receives. So what the TV does is converting these signals into a so-called cathode ray that goes and strikes the TV screen and illuminates. So therefore you can see it's mostly many signal levels, so-called an analog phenomena that happens in this situation. But now we have computer displays. The computer displays are of very high resolution. Why do we have high resolution computer displays? Because all the people, including my kid, stands very close to the computer screen, staring at the screen, so that these tiny dots on the screen can be seen by the viewer. So what this means is, if you have a regular TV, you stay away from the TV and watch it maybe 15 feet, you will not see those dots. But if you have a massive TV, or if you stay very close to the TV screen, you start seeing these dots. So what this means is, we want to have so many dots. So how many dots do we have from top to bottom? As we have in Sri Lanka, so-called PAL, we have 576 dots or 576 lines in a so-called standard definition TV. So what you can see on screen in yellow, that so-called standard definition screen size with 576 lines. But we are not satisfied with this, because we want to have larger TVs. Many viewers have larger TVs now. Therefore, to accommodate these large TVs, we must have much more than 576 dots. So the next level is called HD. I think the viewers who have HD cameras know that the videos that you receive from HD cameras have 1080 lines or 1080 dots from top to bottom. And on the other hand, they are slightly wider as well. So therefore, we have the so-called 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So 1080p is the next level. We call that high definition or HD. The next transition that we want to make is actually toward 4K. We will talk about it later.
Looks like we're moving on to a completely good move that looks like the future holds for a crisp, clear television set. But my fear is what will be there onwards. What are we going to appear on to next? But before that, Doctor, if I ask you, the whole digitalization, what are its advantages? What are we looking at as a good positive side of it?
So if we consider about the analog televisions that we are watching at the moment, they consume lots of bandwidth, as you can see in the slide 3. So we can, in analog television, the bandwidth is somewhere around 6 megahertz for a single channel. So channel is taking 6 megahertz of airspace. But when we convert it to digital, which means, like Dr. Rodrigo explains, digital means ones and zeros. So it's like a switch on and switch off. Two states are there. So we can integrate many channels into the 6 megahertz bandwidth. So that is one advantage over there. So the same bandwidth with many channels. Channel I can sit on there, Ruwan can sit on there, ITN can sit on there. So many channels will be sitting 6 megahertz bandwidth. So we are consuming the most precious airspace bandwidth in the sense of making digitalization. Then the other thing is, when the analog transmission happens, like Dr. Rodrigo said, the ghosting can happen due to the mountainous regions. Then when there is rain fading happens. So the image quality gets reduced, because the reproduction of the image is going to be a little bit hard, because it has so many levels. So when it comes to digital, the image reproduction is a little bit easier, because we have to get the decision whether it is yes or no. So when we can get that decision, the image reproduction is very easy, and we can have a very clear image at our TV sets. We don't have anymore. We don't have dots blurring at our TV sets, but a very clear image when we transit from analog to digital. So those are the two main advantages. And the other thing is, since we are utilizing our bandwidth, So more and more TV channels can come into play. So let's say at the moment we have 20 TV channels in Sri Lanka transmitting, but when we convert this to digital, we can have more than 60 or 70 TV channels using the same spectrum we are using at the moment for analog transmission.
Right, we spoke of the advantages of digital broadcasting, and we are actually heading there, and that would take a while. We shall discuss about that later on. And we are going to move into a break. We'll be back, and well, we will be continuing with this discussion with Dr. Rodrigo and Dr. Udayanga, and we got interesting stuff to be spoken about with regards to digital television, and we got about SDTV, HDTV coming up next, but we'll be back very, very shortly.
அறிமுகமாகின்றது புதிய ஆங்கபீடியா ப்ரோ இரும்புச்சத்து ஒமேகா 3 மற்றும் முக்கிய ஊட்டச்சத்துக்களுடன்.
And we're back now, and I promised you that we're going to speak about SDTV and HDTV. Dr. Rodrigo, you did explain to us about 1080p and high definition. So can we have a detailed description about what exactly is HDTV and SDTV?
Yeah, that's a good question, because many viewers, when they want to buy a TV, want to consider this. What impact does the size of the TV make? Should I buy an SDTV or should I buy an HDTV? When I buy a camera, what is the resolution that I must have in my camera? So those questions are answered by the distinction between SDTV, HDTV and so on. So when we think about the SDTV, as I mentioned before, the number of dots it displays from top to bottom is 576 in the Paris standard. So when the number of dots is small, if you make the display extremely large, the viewer would be able to see these dots. This is annoying. That is not noise, as you would see when your antenna is not actually receiving the signal, but this is due to the size of the video that you receive. But if you have an HD TV which can display 1080 dots from top to bottom, then your display will be much better. Either you can buy a large TV or you can stay close to it. So therefore, when you buy a TV, now you would go and ask the seller, does this support HD TV? If it supports, what are the devices that you can use to play these HD TV videos so that I can get a better viewing experience through this?
That's a question we shall highlight later on the show. And Sharon?
Also speaking now, I think I bet a lot of people out there might actually go and ask, I need a TV which has the HD TV quality. That is probably a question that a lot of them will ask. But I must ask you, what type of equipment must a viewer have to see the digital TV broadcast, if at all?
At the moment, most of the Sri Lankans are using analog TVs normally based on the CRT technology. So when we convert it to digital television, there is an additional equipment the people should brought if we are using the same old CRT TV, because as I said earlier, we are utilizing the same bandwidth for many channels, which means the multiplexing or bundling many channels into the same free bandwidth. So at our home, we need to take out all those bundled channels. So we need a separate box equipment called set-top box. So yeah, if you know the dialog TV or PO TV, they have separate equipment. So that is the set-top box.
Okay.
So the people has to buy a set-top box to use the same CRT TV, but they don't need to set up any different antenna or any other thing. Only the additional equipment we need is set-top box. However, the newer TVs, which has a large screens and other things, has integrated this facility into the TV. So if we have a facility to buy a newer TV which has the either SD or HD capability, we do not need to buy a set-top box. We can just plug in our antenna cable into the TV and tune it from there. So we can have the HD or SD streams directly watched by our TVs.
So, Doctor, I'm diverting totally out of the question. Looking at a lot of people who might have a box TV now, and they might think flat screen has it all. would you encourage a person to buy a flat screen TV if they are getting ready to buy a television for December, or would you encourage them to stay and then maybe wait and then buy?
Yeah, what I encourage them is to buy a flat screen TV, because most of them are now working on analog as well as digital. So when Sri Lanka transfer from analog to digital, they can use the same TV. So they do not need to invest a little amount of money for the set-top box.
It's going to be worth it for them.
Looks like we'll have to say bye to our Parana TV.
All those box models, you mean? Right, so we spoke of the equipments to be used to watch digital broadcast, and we also spoke of HD TV, and that sounds quite interesting, and many people would love to see clear videos and HD videos. So is there anything that they've got to install or use in order to watch HD TV?
Yeah,
or HD videos?
Yeah, that's a good question, because Dr. Ruwan says that when you buy the set-top box and convert your old Parana TV into a digital TV, everything is solved. No, it is not so, because your transition that you mentioned does not actually give you HD TV yet, because Sri Lanka will take time to have HD TV channels broadcast over.
Sorry to disturb, but about how long are we looking at, a time frame?
If I am talking about the time frame, maybe 5 to 6 years, because initially we are
starting from today.
Let's say starting from today, then we need to go to SD first and free up some of the analog channels, and analog, it is called analog switch off or switch over. Then while the transition happens to the whole country, then the HD switch on will happen while keeping the SD switch off.
Quite a long procedure.
Yeah, it's quite a long procedure.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were speaking of HD videos.
Yeah,
Doctor.
This transition, although it takes time, we are not late. Actually, other countries are still trying to do this, and we have embarked on this, and we are on the right course, I guess. But even if you have an SD TV receiver, you won't be able to get the maximum use out of your HD TV. For that, you need to be able to receive HD TV. Now, there is an operator which operates satellite TV in Sri Lanka, Dialog, which has HD TV packages. So therefore, if you buy the HD TV packages, you would be able to use your HD TV screens to watch crisp, clear pictures and in larger size. On the other hand, you can buy the so-called Blu-ray players, which have the ability to play HD videos. But unfortunately, the DVD players are not supporting this yet.
Right, so we spoke of Blu-ray now too, and HD videos, and we're going to move on to a different level now.
Yeah, what is 4K TV, and what is the difference that we notice with that?
Actually, 4K has come into the industry, and if you go to a store, a TV store, you will have 4K TVs, massive screens displayed, and so many people distributing brochures and so on. So we talked about this number, 576, 1080. 4K means 1080 times 2, 2160. So if we think about this, that means we can have even larger screens, as you see on the slide, even larger screens. You can even stay very close to the TV and get the movie experience within your home if you have a so-called 4K TV. So how does this magic number 4K come from? Actually 2160 is actually 2K, right? It's not 4K. So actually now, because they want to show a bigger number, K means 1000, they want to talk about the horizontal number of the dots that you have on the screen, which is about 4096. So they call it 4K, and they have ultra high definition also, not HD, UHD TVs, which are very close to this resolution that we talk about. Now, how do we experience this 4K? Even if you have a Blu-ray player, it cannot play 4K. So what a Blu-ray player would do, if you connect it to a 4K TV, is upconvert the video that it has at 1080p. So therefore, the experience would not be extremely beautiful. So what it means is, there is no player that is capable of giving you a 4K video output. Although you can see your TV screen totally lit up, you will not see that so-called resolution. So, can you watch 4K in Sri Lanka?
That's a question.
That's a question, and the answer is yes. You go to the planetarium. Actually, a week ago, led by Professor Rohan Munasinghe and Professor Chandana Jayaratne, we went to inspect the newly installed projector system in Sri Lanka planetarium. So as you can see, there are two massive projectors. They are 4K projectors projecting onto the dome that you see on your screen. So that's a full dome display. I think this is one of the, not many countries have these kind of displays. So we can be proud of Sri Lanka so that you can see displays of this nature. You can see massive displays totally immersing you within the display, and you can see the universe, and you can see many other displays. For example, if you bring your, now when we were kids, we went to a planetarium and we were able to see these stars going back and forth, and that inspired us to study and become, go to University of Moratua and study. And our institution that we represent, Institute of Engineering and Technology UK, that also encourages these display technologies. So once a foreigner came from UK to our university to show us one of those beautiful 3D displays. So this got me inspired. So hopefully our kids who are watching this will also get inspired to go and see the planetarium.
Exactly, I was just about to say that. So since we spoke of 4K, and if you want to have a 4K experience, planetarium is the place to go.
And I do believe that looks like the cinemas will be in shattered dreams in the years to come, because if every person tends to have a big screen TV or a giant screen TV at their home, it looks like the cinema industry will boom in, but on the other side, cinemas will have to be shut down. But it has its pros and cons. We have only just 3 minutes to go, so quickly we're going to pop in our last time final question.
Yes, and this is going to be our final question. We're going to speak about the future of television in 20 years' time. What do we see?
Yeah, well, at the moment, most of the telecommunication services are leaning into our homes, especially broadband services are increasing. So if you look at the penetration of the different broadband services which we get into our home, we can see the ADSL lines comes off, the copper cables normally, or the wireless broadbands, or now the Sri Lanka Telecom is providing the fiber to the home technology. So that is an immense jump in terms of telecommunication. When we talk about the fiber, it has a huge bandwidth. So if you look at the television service provided by the Sri Lanka Telecom, it's an IP television, IPTV technology. So we can have better resolutions over there. So if you have fiber to the home technology, you can have similar IPTV technology with better quality. And something like the 4K television can be transmitted from the studios very easily to our home, as well as with other interactive broadcasting services. All the things can be integrated into the fiber to the home technology. So in the future, what I hope is the broadcasting may be diminished and the cable lines will be prevailed or come into our homes in terms of fiber.
Right, so that's what we see, that's what we are moving forward to in the future with the regards to telecommunication and multimedia and television overall. So it's time for us to wrap things up on the show, and I would like to thank Dr. Udayanga and Dr. Rodrigo from the University of Moratua for being a part of the show. And thank you so much for educating us on digital television, and we really know about digital TV now and hope you understood everything about it. And see you again on Rise and Shine tomorrow with a lovely episode. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.